Okay, the next report under our student, before we go into the student success behavioral intervention team, I just want to mention one thing, because yesterday we had a meeting again with our high school alliance group, the superintendents, and it was sort of like a one-year anniversary. It was just about last February, so we're coming up on 1 year. It was a nice little celebration to talk to each other about all the initiatives that we've gotten, that we've started since then. We've done the first one of this events, but I wanted Dr. Haney also to mention one of the things that has come out of that was we really tried to work at how we can get a closer relationship with the high schools. And Rich and Karen and the staff, Allie's worked with them and the deans, and they've created, and mostly student development folks, and created kind of a team approach. And I'd like him, he did sort of the first one today.
So this morning we had our first, what I would call more specialized meeting where we go to the individual high schools. We started with Round Lake. Karen Lavin, Dr. O'Brien, Jason Sarna, and myself visited Round Lake. We were very impressed with some of the new initiatives they had there, but it gave us an opportunity to talk about how we get more engaged with their students, with their parents, both for recruitment and for student success once they move on from Round Lake. But it was a great discussion. Again, they're doing very good work there. We had some great ideas and great opportunities for how we'll be able to work together in the future. So it's trying to take what we're doing at the High School Alliance and personalize that at individual high school.
Next thing, one of the things we'll be doing is talking about debt-free college too, and doing workshops with them and stuff. So a lot of good feedback we get from about where to go and how to proceed. So.
And then next I'd like to invite Karen Lavin and her team to come forward to kind of give a brief overview of our behavioral intervention team. Now this will be kind of a high level and quick overview. Due to the sensitive nature of some of the things that they have to deal with on a regular basis, I'd ask if you have any questions to please see me after, and I'm happy to try to answer any questions that you might have. So I will turn it over to Karen and her team.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to come tonight to present on our behavioral intervention team, as we call it, our BIT team. And what we are is a multidisciplinary team whose purpose is to twofold: to avoid situations from escalating where a student may be presenting signs of a pending or potential crisis, as well as we deal with situations where alarming or threatening behavior has already presented. The BIT team itself is not punitive. We don't sanction students, but after analyzing information that is shared amongst the members, we may advise on a course of action to take. The safety of our campus is really of utmost importance for the BIT team, while at the same time we really work to provide our students who are showing or pending crisis with resources to help them to be able to function in a college environment. I wanted to introduce our BIT members who are here today, and those are the offices that represent the BIT team. Not too far. So we have Tom Crow, our director of our Office with Students with Disabilities, Dr. Ken Kikuchi, representing our Student Conduct Office.
Stand up, why don't you?
They're going to help present too. We have Andrea Burris, one of our counselors, and next to her is Tina Carpenter, who you've met, the Dean of Counseling, Advising, and Transfer. We have Chief Gunther here tonight, representing the Police Department, and Teresa Aguinaldo, who you know is our Title IX coordinator. I'm going to turn this over to Tom to give a little bit more detail about the BIT.
I have a few moments with you to talk to you a little bit about the foundation of the BIT, the history of BIT teams, as it were. And I think it's important to note that BIT teams originated as a result of and in response to school violence. So Columbine, Virginia Tech, those kinds of things. I think it's also important to recognize that in those instances, the people that perpetuated these violent acts, as it were known throughout those institutions. But those places did not have the vehicle in which to address this scenario. So BIT teams were formed to share the information. So first and foremost, it is a cross-discipline approach. and Karen introduced you the fine members of the team, which are here tonight. So there's many different voices there, many different eyes and ears on the student that can bring information to the table. We have a best practice. We follow the national best practice for the National Behavioral Intervention Team Association, of which CLC is a member. We do have written protocols in place through the CBITA plan. This is the CLC Behavioral Intervention and Threat Assessment Plan. And within that plan, we use nationally recognized tools, and those are two of them that are up there, the CIRFA 35 and the VRAW2. These are objective tools to assess risk to oneself or to another. Our team meets weekly. We also have a rather rapid response. We've been known to and have assembled in under an hour if we need to. And I think before I turn over the next slide, to let you know, students that reach the behavioral intervention team are really on a continuum. So we're talking about students that are not urgent students versus urgent students. And to give you an example of what we're talking about, for a non-urgent student, we're really talking about, let's say, for example, a student is brought to the BIT team because it makes other students in the class nervous, maybe overt eye contact, might have a conversation or two with no one. Those kinds of issues come forward to the BIT. We have a number of voices here that might interact with that student and can bring information forward. They might have visited counseling, they might have been in the health center, they might be a registered student with my office, the Office for Students with Disabilities. And then we determine that there is no direct threat, no threat to that person or to anyone else. And then that really, in a weekly meeting, and then that really kind of guides our next course of action and best practice. So I can let Ken tell you a little bit more about urgent students, as it were.
All right, so the other side of the spectrum that Tom talked about is urgent students. So if there's a report of a threat, so for an example, if a student threatens another student and it's reported to the police department, they will then notify us and then BIT will assemble. So usually within an hour, either by phone or in person, we will meet, discuss the student, and then things that we have in place are like interim suspension where the student is removed from campus immediately until we can investigate. And then oftentimes no trespass is given where they're not allowed back on campus until, again, investigation has started and then completed. Right, so again, two ends of the spectrum, the non-urgent, non-threat to self and others, and the more urgent student.
Can you give us an example?
So a student that threatens another student. Right, so until we could investigate it, that student is removed as we are collecting information. So how students reach the BIT is through multiple avenues. The most common is through the student of concern form that any employee at CLC can fill out. Students could fill out forms on other students. We also get it through the police department, counseling, Title IX reports, and this is all for due process. We want to make sure the student has the right to know what is being accused, what they're being accused for, and then have the investigation. Right? So we follow through. So BIT has two parts. We have the pre-BIT screening, where let's just say 4 students will present during the week, and of them, usually only 1 will elevate to the BIT level. Right? So the other 3 students will get relegated through the student conduct office, but usually we have that 1 of 4 that will reach the BIT level. Right? This is where then again it's more of a campus-wide issue. And as you can see, a lot of different silos. Right? So prior to BIT, we had lots of information coming, lots of concerns. It was hard to tell what was the most pressing thing. Right? So again, very confusing looking at this. Right? What's important, and what do we need to focus on? And so now, what we have.
And with, like Ken said, without the BIT team, there's a lot of different issues that are presented. With the BIT team, everything sort of falls into place. There's a lot of different aspects that we can attack the problem with. Everybody knows their role, and then can kind of move forward from there. So, yeah. Thank you. So thank you.
Yeah, if I could just say, first of all, I just want to thank all of them for their good work, because they do come together literally within an hour when we have one of these issues that surface. The other thing I will say is it really is a cross-discipline approach. And so when a team does come together, they're able to get information from a variety of sources. to help inform the situation and make the best decision possible. So again, I just want to thank all of them for the good work.
Just a question. How do you manage if there is a student that is deemed dangerous and not allowed on campus? How do you manage removing their get on campus for free card? I mean, how do you do that?
I'd let the police chief
Yeah.
handle that question, but they're issued a trespass order. And,
So, but we have open doors, we have an open community.
We also
Um,
have security,
Yeah.
police force. Chief, do you want to talk about when somebody's issued a trespass, how we keep them off?
Yeah, sure. It's a difficult issue. It's a difficult issue at any college, university, public building, sports facility. If you have somebody that's not supposed to be there, you can use legal avenues. You can trespass them, so if they come back on and they're seen, of course, we can take away their freedom and take them off to jail right away. With an open campus such as this, for me to stand up and say, I can guarantee that once we trespass somebody, they won't come back onto this campus would be an unreal expectation. What we can do is go through any legal avenues we can, be as vigilant as we can, put the word out, cross-referencing, not in silos, but to all of our people, and make the relevant people, the professors that are involved in it, the staff that's involved in it, and say, if you see this individual, please let us know right away. So we try to get that word out institutionally, and not only the police are looking, but our whole community is looking for this individual. Vis-a-vis, we give them pictures of them, we give them the names, and we get that information, and then we would respond in kind.
So, yeah, thank you for this report. This is the first time that I heard a report. So I want to know, how long have we had the team in place, and how do we not let students know? Like, how do we let students know about their reporting ability and, like, don't be afraid, so this is what you can do, this is, when you see something going on, this is the way you react.
how long has the bid team been on?
A couple of years that we've been really active.
Over 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's on the website, the student of concern form and a plethora of information sits on the website. We are in the process of looking for some funds to start doing more of a marketing campaign to students. Typically, most of the requests that we're getting are coming in through the faculty and staff intranet. So I don't think quite yet we've really gotten anything from the students through the internet, but they'll present themselves in the student development office, sometimes counseling, to report things. And so for staff, we get the word out right now, but we're going to try to do a little bit more marketing on the whole.
Well, I mean, wouldn't this be something, I was expecting you were going to tell me that during student orientation that this would be one of the little pieces of information that goes out to students?
I don't believe we cover that we have a bid team. Again, most of this comes through when a student would report or a staff member would report either to the police, student development, Title IX. It comes through those channels.
Well, wouldn't it, just kind of expanding
I
on
agree.
what Jean is
Yep.
saying,
Yep.
wouldn't it be important, especially with the things that we know about what have happened at other school buildings where people knew that this person was a little strange or this person had hung around with the wrong kind of people or, and yet didn't report it because they didn't know
Kind
who
of
to
see
go
something,
to.
say something.
Right, isn't it, wouldn't it be in orientation good to say, you know, by the way, if you see something that makes you uncomfortable or you hear something that makes you uncomfortable, we have a process for you to go through so that students know ahead of time and encourage them to speak up. Don't just kind of, you know, let it go into the background.
Well, because the students are a resource of knowledge. I mean, they're gonna, some of these kids are kids they went to high school with. And, you know, they're gonna know history, they're gonna know troubled kids that might not have made their way to the disabilities office or the counseling office. I mean, it just seems to me that's an opportunity that should not be overlooked.
At the same time, though, you also have to put in some, something in so there is no abuse of the system. Because there's always kids who want to get back at some other kids. And my question really is on high school collaboration, because a lot of these problems probably didn't start when they hit college campus. Is there any kind of collaboration with high schools currently in the BIT program? Is there something that is, you know, that is akin to the BIT program in high school?
I don't know if there's something that high schools have that are similar to this.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you for that presentation. By the way, is that acronym, did we come up with that, or is that something we modeled? Did you license that?
It's stolen. It's
Sounds
stolen.
like a
It's
dog.
the national, it's the national
Oh,
name for
okay.
those teams, yeah.
I just wanted to see if we should trademark.